What Archangel Michael and Lucifer look like, part 2. I'm going to show you guys a picture in this video that is so close to what Archangel Michael and Lucifer look like. When my friend sent me this picture, I almost jumped out of my skin. I made a part 1, but in this video I'm going to share with you the 2 experiences I had where I seen the image of Archangel Michael and Lucifer. And I'm also going to include something that I forgot to mention in part 1. 2014, an Archangel Michael appeared, and ever since then I've had a handful of visits, but only in one of them was I shown his true image. And this came a year after I attempted to leave this place. You know, for 12 months I didn't hear anything from Archangel Michael after he appeared and stopped me from doing what I was about to do. And, you know, I was always like, "Where'd you go, Michael?" You know, I kind of felt abandoned. One time I decided to do a mushroom meditation, and I had a large quartz crystal right in front of me, right? And after about 45 minutes of going into meditation, I heard, you should open up your eyes. And when I opened up my eyes, from head to toe in this quartz crystal appeared Archangel Michael. And, the first thing that captured my eyes was this magnificent flowing hair that he had going down his back. But he had these wings that I never seen before. A lot of times in images of Archangel Michael, you see his little piddly wings sticking out. His wings were so magnificent, they went up above his head and below his feet. They were just massive. And he was marching in this, he was in a quartz crystal, so he couldn't go anywhere, but he was doing a forward moonwalk, right? And he had a sword in one hand and a round shield in the other. The sword was in his left hand, the shield was in his right hand. And, just jacked, right? But these wings and hair were so magnificent, it was hard to take my eyes off them. And he just kept walking in this forward motion. And then the next thing I knew, before that happened, I started to rub my eyes. I'm like, am I actually seeing this? And this pulse wave came from the crystal and hit my ears. And it was so powerful that I actually thought my eardrums burst, and I could feel my ears physically shaking. And so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna ask that again. And the next thing I know, Archangel Michael's wings just folded all around his body. And what I've learned from that experience is that when an angel folds his wings around his body and you're there to see it, he's actually setting you Christ consciousness. And this wave of unconditional love hit me so hard that I actually collapsed in my chair. My chest went right into my lap. And I just remember my hands were on the ground and I was just blissed out with a big smile on my face. But it was so loving and unconditional that I couldn't even move. And I don't know how much time went by, to be honest, maybe a minute or so. And I sat back up and he was marching again. And I was like, holy cow, he's still there. And then his wings started folding again, and boom, this happened 3 times. And on the 3rd time when I got up, he was gone. But I was just so dumbfounded by that experience. And I've also had a handful of visitations from Lucifer, but this one time that I was shown his image, and this is why I realized that they are twins, because they basically look identical, to the point where I have to rewrite my book, because I originally thought that Archangel Michael had a soul fragmentation, became Lucifer, but I've more recently found out it was the other way around, where Lucifer was actually created before Archangel Michael and had a soul fragmentation, which became him. But anyways, there was this one time after my divorce where I was standing in my, I used to be a welder, fabricator, and I was just standing in my workstation. I was holding my welder in my hand, and I was just thinking about all the things that I was going through after my divorce, as well as all the things I've been through in my life. And I just started to feel this absolute rage fill every cell of my body. And the next thing I know, I felt this jolt in one of my lower chakras. And I could just feel this energy rising. And the next thing I know, there was this portal in front of me, and Lucifer comes up into it. He's got the same magnificent hair, and all I could see was the top of his wings, and there was all these black snakes. They didn't have a head or a tail. They were just the bodies. They were eating themselves, but they were going all around him, and there was fire in the background. Next thing I know, I just felt this suction going towards this portal, and I had a metal section in the background, in reality, that I was working on, and as I'm looking at this portal, I see this section just crumble up and get sucked into this portal. And the next thing I know, my physical body's like getting pulled into this portal, and I'm starting to freak out, like, what the fuck's going on, right? So after a little bit of time, I just pulled back, I leaned back, and the next thing I knew, this portal closed. All this negative energy just disappeared within that portal, and I was left feeling absolutely great. I recently had a friend tell me that, I tapped into the energy of the seventh layer of hell. That's how frustrated I was. But Lucifer came and took all this energy. And one thing I forgot to mention in my first video is just the magnificence of their wings. Now I'm going to show you guys this picture. And when I first saw it, I almost jumped out of my skin because I thought Archangel Michael appeared on my phone. That right there is a representation of what Archangel Michael and Lucifer look like. Add on the magnificent hair and the magnificent wings. But that face right there made me jump out of my skin. You can see that Archangel Michael and Lucifer are good looking dudes. I'm all about the ladies. I like my thighs hairless. But, that right there is the closest representation of Archangel Michael and Lucifer that I've ever seen. Now, in my first video, part 1 that I made, a lot of people, a lot of comments where they don't have wings. They can appear to you without wings, okay? In my 2 visitations, I had multiple visitations from each of them, but in the 2 visitations that I actually seen their image, they both had wings. So I just wanted to add that. You can clearly see that they're good looking dudes. If you'd like to check out my biography where I share all these experiences with you, it's called Finding Me. It's on my website. All you got to do is click that circle. Click on my website. It'll take you right there. I'm also offering a custom crystal jewelry line where I use my connection with the angels to pump these babies up full of angelic energy for you. I'm also offering a healing service where I connect with your soul, guide you to the 12th dimension, and let Jesus perform all the healings. I've had some pretty amazing feedback, so if you'd like to check that out, click that circle, hit my website link, and you can do some shopping. That's all I got. Thanks for watching.